Hello everyone and welcome to round 4 of the ULC live from Hungary. I of course am not Andy, I don't have the thick Scottish accent, but we are here nonetheless. We've got ourselves 16 drivers. The only absentees I can note for you today are PSGL, who are unable to field 2 drivers, and ARC, who are no longer with us. Joining me in the commentary box is the AOR F1 live stream commentator. Alan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you for introducing me. I know you were hesitant on saying my last name.
I may have forgot
it.
It's
perfectly fine. maybe not. But yes, we are here for the Hungarian Grand Prix. I'm very excited to be here today. It was sort of a last minute thing. I woke this morning, I left today. I'm kind of sad that Andy's here with us today commentating, but most likely he'll be back for next round, so don't worry. But for today, you'll have the American accent. Which, of course, is me, if you couldn't tell. But yeah, 16 drivers today for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Qualifying starts out from 12 minutes, now already down to 10. I was just a second ago, because I'm not really updated with ULC. I don't keep myself updated, so we'll give a little rundown on what's been going on, and we can sort of talk about it as qualifying starts.
Yes, indeed. Well, I mean, you wasn't here last time out, but last time out, Kari picked up a race win, his first race win, and he is the championship leader currently, with SML taking the lead in the championship in Spain. Well, that was an absolute classic. From last on the grid, Flores picked up a race victory in round 1. Skeven convinced us all that he isn't a bottle job, and he picked up his first round win. We was unable to take part in Bahrain due to the PSN issues, but we are more than happy to be here in Hungary. Bahrain will be back at the end of the season to let people know. As you mentioned, you haven't been up to date, but you've got yourselves in for a cracker here. This track is, as many people call it, the Monaco without the barriers. It's going to be a good one. I don't know, it's going to be tough. They're going to be very, very tight on track. Overtaking is going to be tough, but looking throughout the grid, we've got ourselves some very, very good drivers who can compete, and I do think we could see some shocks today. You've got the likes of Shamasi, who has yet to really hit the ground running. Kari has been doing very well. You've got SML Cosmic, who's replacing Marchetti, who's unavailable this week. Skeven's picked up a win, and the Dutchmen, of course, have both shown some good pace if it wasn't for the fact they picked up a couple of mistakes at Silverstone. But nonetheless, we have got a fantastic race ahead of us.
Yes, I'm definitely excited. I mean, already looking at it, I do see some clouds forming up in the sky. I'm not sure if we'll have rain impacting us today. As time counts down, many drivers will be looking to get on track ASAP before rain does come on the track. If it does, in fact, yellow in Sector 2. Look at that B. Caught the track just for a second, it looked to be. I'm riding on board with the Williams of SML, and it's JD off the track. And I'm sorry if my voice is cutting out. I'm sort of sick at the moment. So like I said, last minute showing up here today. I'm really happy to be here, but like we said, yeah, like you said, Monaco without the barriers. I definitely do agree with that. It's not wide compared to other tracks that you'd expect to have runoff with grass and asphalt, but again, just enough to get nice passing as Shamasi sets in a fantastic lap time, a 1:17.3 as it stands right now, though many drivers will be looking to conquer that lap time, as there goes Terra after carry across the line, a 1:32, a 1:17.3 as he crosses the line, very close to Shamasi's lap, by the way. And as you see by the points, he is leading the points, so like seeing Shamasi, he hasn't really peaked yet, and he is pretty points leader's time, so it looks to be maybe a good future that he has in today's race.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, historically, he's been a very quick driver in the league, and we've seen some great racing from him. A lot of people do question the Spaniard sometimes about the consistency, as whether he's on a lap there, he's just gone a bit wide, Carrick. Yeah, they do worry about their consistency, but I'm quite interested to see how they do today. I mean, you can see there, Shamasi and Kari are very, very close throughout the field. Skeven, I don't think that's time is representative of his pace this early on, but my PlayStation overheating for some reason on this game. It makes my PlayStation melt down and pick some of his speed. It's calmed down a little bit now. I'll probably pick up later on. So just that you know, my mum hasn't ripped up the Dyson. It's just the PlayStation playing up there.
I'm kind of surprised it wasn't mine at first, because I sort of have those problems in other leagues, as you can see. But yeah, coming in for the fastest lap time, the two Dutches cross the line. Flores and Gemzo, P1 and 2. The Saubers go up in the front row, a difference by 3/10. I really think Flores wins for that lap time, believe it or not. I mean, it's so surprising, because at first you saw those two lap times come in between Carey and Shanazi. There was only a 600ths difference, and now the two Dutchers come across the line, and now it's a 3/10 difference between Flores and Gemzo. So really, I think Gemstool was obviously doing a regular banker lap when Flores, well, I think maybe he'll go out for one more time. I don't know. I think Flores really just nailed the lap there. Didn't back off at all compared to a banker lap that some drivers would do. But as you go through the field now, there are still some drivers yet to go out on track. Well, let's go through the grid. I mean, down in 11th, you have the Red Bull going out on track, and then there's Technica in 12th, 13th, Temp Fear 14th, Ace 15th, Matt, yeah, I think it's Matt, and then 16th is JD. All those drivers have not set a lap time yet, so we don't actually know the pace of the field today. I mean, like we said, Monaco does produce different results, and like you said, this is a track, basically Monaco, but without the walls. It's grass, so maybe differing results, I don't know, but from what I've seen over commentaries at Hungary, it usually does mix up results from what you're used to seeing. So I am actually really, really excited for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Some people criticize it, but in overall, I love this track. I love racing here. I love commentating here. And for me, I like commentating here. Like I said, it's a good track, and I think for some drivers, some people have their strengths here, some weaknesses, but I think it'll show as we begin the race. And not only that, but in qualifying, as some drivers, like we said, not some of the fastest lap times. I mean, down in 10th or soft, 2 seconds off the pace already. Like we said, it's a banker lap. Most likely will improve on it, but like we said, keep eyes on him, because that lap time will improve. We only have 5 minutes left to qualifying, and Flores' time will be reckoned to beat.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look through the field of just around 5 minutes to go, we're going to have to be seeing some guys come out. You could imagine they'll come up for 2 runs, but the issue with this track, of course, is tyre wear is a bit dangerous. You can pick up some tyre wear from them 2 laps, which could effectively cost you in the race, because tyre wear is key, and getting that undercut or overcut at this Grand Prix is going to be very, very important. I've seen it in the past where drivers will pit 1 lap earlier, even though their tyres are fresh, just for track position, because track position is very important. Francis, Technica, Ace of Pace and JD are all about to set their first laps. I believe the first one is going to be Technica. He comes across the line. No, he's just about to start his lap there. He's obviously had 1 banker. Francis seems to be on a lap currently coming through that middle sector. A tricky middle sector, one of the most satisfying sets of corners if you get it right, but also some of the most punishing corners on the calendar, especially the exit out of there. It's one of them sets of corners that, as I mentioned, it's satisfying. But when you lose time, it's not just a simple tenth or 2, because it will cost you a couple of tenths, around 5 or 6, which could really be effective around this track, with a very minimal time of about, as we can see, 1 minute 17 on average is what we're seeing. Gaining time is very important, and the odd tenth could be massive, which is Flores' time we're seeing is really, really important. Francis there pops himself up into 9th with a 1 minute 18.1. He might be able to get in the pits and go out just in time once again. Technica on a lap. Ace of Pace now coming through the final corner. Going to get a good line there. Just going to get it up the apex now. Early on the power. Goes down the start-finish straight, and he pops himself up into P7 with 1 minute 17.770, which just leaves Technica, Temp Fear and Matt Meerkat yet to set times. So Temp Fear and Matt Meerkat are going to have to get out very, very quickly. And JD as well pretty much has not set a time either, with 1 minute 29 so far.
Yeah, remember, there was one other league I commentated for where someone crossed the line with 1 second, started his only lap in qualifying, and got pole position. Now, I'm not going to say that's not going to happen here, but, I mean, I wouldn't be worried that drivers are still in the pits with 3 minutes. Heck, you can go out on track with maybe 2 minutes at most, maybe 1 minute 40 seconds. They can still go out on the track and still set a lap time. So I wouldn't be worried about drivers still in the pits. I mean, with Temp Fear, he could come in clutch and set a decent lap time. And with Matt in the Force India and still in the first sector on his out lap, he will start his lap time. But as it stands right now, the 2 Dutches are still on the front row. And I was surprised, because, I mean, I looked at the points before I started this thing. I knew that MGP, the drivers, or the Spaniards, were sort of the ones to beat. From what I looked at the points, sort of an obvious statement here, but it was sort of an obvious one. And, I mean, Carrick's setting a good lap time, but as you go down through the field, you have SML Cosmic down in 6th. He's going back out on track to improve on his lap time. One final time here in the Hungarian Grand Prix qualifying with 2 minutes remaining. He's going to go back out on track very slowly, actually. Ghosting, I probably just let him by. Dangerous spot to do it. You could actually get penalized if slow enough through that part. But as we look at the front, like we said, the 2 Dutches are on the front row. SML Cosmic down in 6th. There's a yellow in sector 1, and that is actually the Mercedes pulling off to the side of soft. And satisfied with that lap time, at least 1 second off the pace of Flores. However, that most likely will change as he approaches the end of qualifying. Now, if I were the drivers. I'd be getting out on the track. Tempe are still in the track, or still in the pit lane, and I'm not sure if he's planning on that or not. I wouldn't know.
Just a side note, reason why he's in the pits. No, I've just figured out it as well. I was wondering why he was in there. I just realised it was down to the qualifying ban.
Okay, a little embarrassing. Kind of wish I knew that, but it's fine. I'll probably make mistakes along the way, like I said, as I'm sick. But 3/10 difference, like we keep saying. 1 minute remaining for Flores and Gemzo to maintain their front row. Right now, Carey sliding, almost hitting the barrier at the end of the first sector, sliding off and going onto the rumble strip there, as if you saw that. Catching the car out, that's how much he's on the edge. He's trying to improve on that lap time. He's pushing so much to the point where he's making mistakes, and it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I've seen him race. I've commentated over races he's done, and sometimes he is put into these mistakes, and sometimes it does cost a driver. But Stocky, representing UPL, retires satisfied at the time, 8/10 off the time of Shemazi, who sets the fastest lap time across the line in that Renault. Looks to be 3/100ths of a difference, quicker than Flores' time. And Shemazi, good lap time, putting in on the board, looking and hoping to have that front row spot up on P number 1. Many other drivers retiring from the session, as JD in 7th. Going down through the grid. Yeah, many drivers are satisfied with their lap time, but I think anyone else can top Shemazi's time. We have just 4 seconds remaining.
Well, yeah, we've got to look through the field there. Flores, he's one who can still. I mean, look at the gap there. That's so small. Gemzo, we know he can pick out a really good time in qualifying. Skeven has given up. He's crashed into a wall. So whether that was purposeful or he's retired or don't know really what's happened to him. Kari, he can still set the time. Cosmic can still set the time. The big runners are still out there. The top 6, other than Skeven, can all go out and set times, and let alone Shemasi, who I think might be coming in now. I think he might have set his time. Or he actually could be still on an improvement. Flores, he's coming up shortly. So we'll start off with Shemasi, who's coming through the final few corners. He's going to continue his lap now. Comes around the final corner. Going to try and get a good exit out of the final corner to try and get down the start finish straight. Open up the DRS shortly. Can he improve upon his time? Shemasi doesn't improve, which nearly leaves Flores. Can he improve? Flores does. He goes pole. 1 minute 16.6882. Gemzo moved at the 3rd map. Meerkat is in 4th. This leaves Kari now coming through the final few corners, and Cosmic comes across the line. Cosmic goes to 3rd. Now it's Kari. Can he improve upon his time now? Coming across the line. Will Kari improve? He makes it a 3-4 for the Spaniards. It's Shemasi 2nd, who continues his great start to the season in qualifying, but unable to do him in the race to see if he can change that luck. But Flores, who started Spain from the very back, looks to have got his first pole, as Francis, I believe, moved up to, I think, 9th or 10th there. But there it is. Flores is your pole sitter, as we now get a nice rundown of qualifying and have a look. So, as we mentioned, Flores takes pole position from Shemasi, just 1/10, oh sorry, just under 2/10 behind him. Then it's Kari and Cosmic locking out that 2nd row. Gemzo, Matt Meerkat make 5th and 6th. Skeven and Francis 7-8. JD, Technica 9th and 10th. Stocky 11th. Ace of Pace 12th. Tumas in 13th. Soft Cop in 14th. Arctic Devils in 15th. And 10th Fear, who had a qualifying ban, he makes the top 16 there. So a very interesting qualifying session. I thought that Flores' original time would be good enough for pole, but apparently, you know, Shemasi really was going to take him to the very limit there.
Yeah, like we said, good lap times that we saw on the board. I reckon Kara could have actually been quicker, because like we said, I pointed out a mistake on his lap that actually cost him around half a second. It was coming up the hill towards the end of Sector 1, slid the car off, and I already mentioned it during quali, but I'm surprised he was able to get 3rd place. Third place, making it the Spaniards 3-4 on the grid. It sort of surprised me that he was still up there with that mistake he made. Just goes to show that obviously the banker laps are no match for the final laps that you set in qualifying, but we're counting down from now 12 seconds to start this race, and I'm going to be very excited, and hopefully my voice is still there by the end, hoping that happens.
Yeah, indeed. We have got ourselves a fantastic race. It does look a little bit cloudy, but the 5 red lights are about to come on for round 4 here at Hungary. And we are go now. Flores gets a decent start, but Shemasi seems to have got along there well now as they come down into turn 1. It's a long time going. Flores covers him off now. Is Shemasi going to go up for the inside? Almost making contact there. Shemasi doesn't break later, but there goes the Williams going around the outside. Flores goes deep. Shemasi moves up the inside. Shemasi takes the lead now. The Williams and Sauber going side by side. Can they make it free abreast? Here comes the other Sauber of... Oh, it's just all going off now as they go around the outside there. The Williams. Shemasi holds the lead. Flores squeezing out the Williams. And the Spaniards are unable to get past, but Shemasi gets the job done. Down the field as well. Francis moves up to 6th position. It's all going on down there. Sauber of Matt... the Force India of Matt Meerkat as well. He's trundled down the field. He's down into 15th position. But there it is. Shemasi. He is your race leader in this early stage. What a good start there from him. He got the move done. It seemed like Flores was unable to defend him up there. He couldn't get the move done. The defensive move covered. He was just unable to deal with Shemasi, who didn't actually break late there. I thought he would have gone for a dive bomb, but he took his time. He was careful and got the job done.
Yep, Technica did not start this race. Right now it says he's in the pit lane for me. And
yes.
Yeah, right now I'm not sure if you saw the back run. Hold on a second. Starting to rain. If you just realized I'm riding on board with any driver, and I'm starting to see some rain on the very opening lap. And position swap between Francis and Gemzo. They're wheel to wheel in the final 2 corners. Wheel to wheel. Gemzo shoves it up the inside after a terrible start. Back off the final corner, and Clarence Francis coming across the line to open lap number 2.
Kari and Flores.
Between Flores and Carrix. Yes, wheel to wheel. And Flores is able to get the switch back on him as, not the best start. He ran wide in the first corner. Now they're wheel to wheel as you head back downhill. Can Carey go around the outside? Lunges the car all the way around the outside. If he can have just enough room, gets squeezed, and backs up at the last second, and Flores is still in P2.
Yeah, fantastic squabble in there. These guys could really play into the hands of Shemasi though, because if Shemasi continues the way he's currently going, he could maybe pull away, but they seem to be keeping him within that 1/10 gap at the moment. As there goes Flores! He goes and makes a mistake, almost hits the Williams there. Very, very tight. They go side by side into the chicane. This is now causing an absolute train. JD gets past Kari, as now JD moves up into a podium position. There a mistake there from Flores, almost costing Kari a wheel and possibly some solid points here. The championship leader will not be happy with that. That's how it goes side by side. Up the inside goes Ace of Pace. He pushes Skeven wide. Now opens Gemzo, who's going to go round the outside into the penultimate corner. He goes for it. He holds it. Can he get the traction on there? Side by side with Skeven. Skeven makes a little bit of wheel spin. They go now, and Gemzo gets the move done. A fantastic move there at the penultimate corner, getting that nicely done as Shemasi sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He has a 1-second gap. JD is now in 3rd. He's going to have pressure from Kari, as is shown. He's got some serious pace. Ace of Pace with a fantastic move, but Gemzo on his recovery. Skeven looks for a little move up the inside, a little clipping there from them too, but he's unable to get the job done there. But it's a fantastic start and a real scrappy one as we expected. As we mentioned, Monaco, they're going to have to go for lunges like that because that start-finish straight is so tough to get past. Traction is key, but an overtake at the penultimate corner is almost unheard of at times.
Yes, like we're just covering, Carey got in a swap a lap ago in lap number 2, and that allowed JD to get past. Now, I was just thinking to myself, he didn't even qualify into the top 5, let alone he qualified P9, barely inside the top 10. So he is a man on a mission, going through the field left and right. Next on his list is Flores. He started back in 9th. He has gained 6 positions, and now he's in P number 3, trying to get by Flores now. The gap between those two is half a second. So Carey right behind. The rain is starting to fall even more. So a little question for you. Do you think the rain will start to, obviously, when do you think the rain will start to affect these drivers at the, to the part where they have to pit? Because, I mean, right now it's coming down very gently, but eventually this track is starting to have some puddles, and eventually they're going to have to pit. When do you think that'll be?
Well, it's tough to say because the greasiness of this track is going to be evident to see. I'd give it until maybe lap 7, 8 maybe. You look at the guys on soft, you've got Soft Cop, 10th Fear, Stocky, 2 Mass and Arctic Devils, all on the soft compound tyres. So they'll probably be hoping that it lasts a little bit longer. Now, the question really is how long these super softs can last. Now, they probably can do a decent stint on them, but it depends. If you're sliding all over the place, you're going to get wheel spin, which is going to degrade the tyres very, very quickly. It's tough to say. I'm going to say between lap 8 and 10, it will really get down, but I've got some experience. I know from the AOR F2 race recently, the track was wet the entirety of the Grand Prix, and they can stay on dry tyres the whole time. So I'm very, very shocked if this happened. If you look at the clouds above, it looks very, very grey. And with this middle sector as well, traction and tyre wear is going to be key. Having grip through there, as most of the drivers now coming through here, is going to be crucial. If you have a track where it's mostly straight, say Canada, you can survive a little bit longer, but you know, this is going to be a real tight one as Kari is all over the rear of JD. Is he going to look for a move? Maybe around the outside. JD covers him off defensively. Kari thinks better of it. He knows he can get him done at some of the more easier overtaking positions. Shemasi is being gained by Flores, the race winner from Spain. It's now 5 tenths between them two. Now Kari going side by side with JD. Will he try and hook it round the outside? He thinks better of it. We'll get a better entrance now through the final corner. I don't think DRS will be active at this point. I'm not sure if they've cancelled it, but I reckon he will be. Flores has the fastest lap. Is DRS open? It is indeed. They haven't called DRS off yet. Now going side by side. Looks like Kari's going to get the move done, but will JD go defensive? He does. Brakes a little bit later. Little lock up there from the Mercedes. Gets the move done, but will this allow Kari to get a better entrance into the second set of corners? The DRS will continue to be open now. Going around the outside he'll go. I don't think he's going to be able to make it do. If he does, he's going to be a fantastic move. They go side by side, but JD is able to cut him off, or is he? As now Kari goes for a move, they touch, or just about no contact there that is going to cause any damage, luckily, but they're going to go side by side up the hill. Around the outside, off the track goes Kari. He makes the move stick, maybe. They're still going. Wheel-to-wheel action here from these two. Fantastic racing. JD's now hooked onto his side pod. They're going to go side by side to the chicane. They aren't. They are. Kari gets the move done.
Oh, I was trying to hold my breath there while you're saying that. I have nothing to describe that. That was fantastic and pure racing from Kari. A fantastic maneuver to get by. Finally back into the podium spot in P number 3. JD down in 4th. 5th is SML, Cosmic, and now the other Spaniard trying to dive it down to the inside of JD. And he just taps him and goes off the track just a tad bit. And now Cosmic is back in a P4. Now it's a Spaniard 3-4 like it originally was. I can see it right out in the background, falling to the depths of Gemzo in the background. That is Ace of Pace through the penultimate corner and the final corner. Off the corner now, Steven trying to attack Gemzo wheel to wheel to go down the main straight. Lap number 6 is upon us, and a 3-second time penalty for Arctic. Multiple warnings, but down to the inside, Steven still wheel to wheel with Gemzo and still off the corner. They're still going at it. And man, I'm not sure if either one of them is going to clear each other, but it's going to be done at this corner. Around the outside, it's going to be between Gemzo and Skeven. Around the outside, can Skeven do it? The gap is still there, but it closes just enough. Whoa, off the track goes Gemzo. An incredible save from the Summer Man, and he's able to keep that car stable, and Skeven gets by due to the mistake of Gemzo here on lap number 6, but now he's ran wide, and just enough, and Skeven is still clear of Gemzo. Man, that was a good battle, but as we go up through the field, Shimazki still leads, but not by much longer. Flores has reeled him in by quite a lot. The gap now between them is 2 tenths.
Yeah, indeed. If I was looking on with Steven there, he did look like he was struggling. Same with Gemzo. So I think the rain is starting to affect them now. The grease on the track could be causing some wheel spin. So these guys are going to be really under pressure at the moment. I reckon there'll be a few complaints though from JD. It looked like Kari maybe completed the move off the track, all 4 wheels off. Maybe should have given the position back. It will have to be looked at, I dare say, by the stewards. There'll be some complaints. But now, Flores getting the tag there. Very close to hitting the wall. As I mentioned, these conditions are now starting to affect these guys. Shemasi will have a bit of respite going forward now. He's got a little bit of breathing space between him. Not much bite, mind you. Speaking of breathing space, Flores has pulled away from Kari and Cosmic here. So them guys are going to be on the charge. JD is just keeping Ace of Pace a little bit close. Oh, he's got a good enough gap at the moment, I'd say, but Ace of Pace is going to be on his rear end going forward in the next few laps. Gemzo has got past Skeven again. These two seem to be struggling, so I wonder what their front wings are like. Maybe they picked up some damage with that altercation, or maybe they're just running low front wings that's causing them some major issues there as Gemzo goes off. There could be penalties abundant here, especially through the uphill fast left-hander. That's going to be a tough one. From history, I can say that there's people that will always get penalties through there, so penalties could have a key factor here as Ace of Pace and JD battle through the middle sector. No moves. Looking down the field there, Temp Fear is on the rear end of Soft Cop. We'll look at Stocky. He's just entered the pits now. He's down into last position. Arctic Devils, he has come into the pits for a set of fresh mediums. But throughout the field, Matt Meerkat, he'll be looking to gain onto Temp Fear and Soft Cop for that remaining point. Francis Jessica running quite well at the moment, doing well for the IF Leagues team. Skeven, he'll be a bit disappointed. I don't think he's got any front wing damage, but he'll be disappointed at the moment because he could be doing much better than this. He seems to be struggling with this rain, but obviously it's not good enough at the moment to come into the pits for the rain. We'll onboard low with Flores and Shemasi as they restart their battle for the lead. I don't think Flores will make a mistake this time. Late move up the inside there from Flores. does a late one there, and that is a great move, but Shemasi will come back at him now going into turn 2. Flores made a late lunge there. I think Shemasi might have some complaints about that, but that is some hard racing from the Dutchman. He loves a late lunge. We've seen it from him in the past, and Shemasi has to vindicate first position and slot into second as Flores takes the lead. And I think Flores now will be able to extend that gap as Shemasi will slot into second position. The Dutchman has taken the top spot at the current moment, but with the rain coming, it's going to be a tough one for him to hold on to. So many changeable conditions, so many different scenarios as Softcop has retired from this race, or disconnected, one of the two. But yeah, it's going to be tough to hold on to this because the rain can really throw up some questionable moments, really. As we've seen already, the greasy track is causing some wheel spin. Kari's all over the back of Shemasi, so Shemasi seems to be struggling from a very similar issue that Skeven was previously with wheel spin. Is Kari going to go for a lunge? He thinks better of it, and Shemasi is going to hold. He doesn't, or he is. Kari gets up the inside. Shemasi's forced out wide, and that's Kari up into P2. The Spaniards taking advantage. Shemasi's going to go for the move, maybe. He's holding just about enough space there, but it looks like Kari's going to hold it now. DRS is going to be active down this start-finish straight. He goes defensive, Kari. Cosmic and Shemasi follow him like a worm. Let's see what happens now going into turn 1. Are they going to go 3 abreast? I don't think so. Shemasi's going to think better, maybe go for the undercut. But back there, Cosmic and Shemasi come together. Shemasi's facing the wrong way, but he's able to convert it. He might have some damage. Looking at the front wing, I don't think he does, but that is a bit of a risky one from Cosmic. He went for an optimistic move when really there wasn't any space. He should have thought better of it, but now we should mention it's a running. Flores is first. It's a Spaniard, and then the Renault, and then this remaining Salvas. So the top 6 is made up of Salvas, Renaults, and Williams.
Yes, I mean, it definitely does look good for some of these teams. I was going to say, I was shocked by the move that the Spaniards put on the Renault of Shemasi. Just literally, they put on a little tap there first. There went Carey, and then Cosmic got by. And I mean, it's nice to see the teams running in order despite Flores there. I mean, it's the 2 Williams and the 2 Renaults, and then the Sauber back in 6. So the top 6 are all, 3 same teams. And then back down the order. Let's do a little grid rundown, by the way, because we've been talking about the front guys for a while. It's Flores, Carey, Cosmic, Shemasi, Ace, Gemzo, JD, Skeven, Francis, and Tempfear running up the top 10. 11th is going to be Matt, 12th is Tuamos, 13th Arctic, 14th Stocky, 15th is Soft, and I can confirm he did not disconnect. He actually did retire. He pulled up to the side. The AI doesn't do that when you disconnect, by the way. So Soft is out, and then Techna I don't know what happened in Technica. In the pits, technically.
Oh, lunging move there from Ace of Pace on his teammate, quickly going into turn 1. Ace of Pace and Shemasi there, no teammate love lost there. Shemasi may have some damage because that looked too easy for Ace of Pace. Shemasi isn't going to go for it, but he does lock up there, Ace of Pace. That opens the gap for Shemasi. He doesn't go for it, and Ace of Pace, they swap the drivers. Not very cleanly, I mind you, but they swap the drivers. Sorry, Alan, go back to what you were saying. I just thought I'd jump in.
I was gonna say, Arctic is now out of the race. I thought you were talking about that when you interrupted me, but no, Arctic is out of the race, missing a right front tire. I think that is up apart towards the end, towards the middle of sector number 2, the left-hander. But you can't even go too wide there. I think that's what happened, because that right front is gone. Obviously, he slammed the car with his right side. He's now out of the race in the second retirement, not counting Technica in today's Hungarian Grand Prix. 10 laps in. Rain, like we said, is starting to affect us, but as you can see, if you look at the detail for the tires that everyone is on, every single driver is still in the slick tires, meaning right now there's not even any spray from these tires. So as it stands right now, it's going to be a long time before these drivers start pitting for either intermediates or full wets, a long time down the road. But I'm running on board with Flores. He's drifting around these corners, but yet there's not even spray coming off these tires. So it's going to be a lot more tricky come towards the end of this race, or right before this stint ends, when these guys are going to have to pit for the intermediates. It's going to be really tricky for some of these guys. It's now Gemzo into the pit. What tires will he put on?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Gemzo does. I imagine if it was smart team play, no, he's going for a set of soft tyres, so I think they're trying to hold out and might just remain dry. He replaced the front wing, so he did pick up damage with Shemasi there, so that's why they were all over the place. I was thinking then maybe that Gemzo might come into the pits for a set of inters to help his teammate, play the team game, see if, help Flores to know when the inters are at a peak temperature and when the grip is good. But looking at track, it doesn't seem to have settled very much this rain, so it might just be a case of greasy track, and at the moment we're at 11 laps in, and it doesn't seem like it's going to cause any major issues. The rain isn't falling heavily. If you look in the sky as well, there's a few blue patches appearing there. But on board now quickly with Tempfear and Francis, they're going to be battling going into the middle sector. Tempfear's on the soft sides. Francis will be on a very, very dead set of super softs. Now Francis locks up there, goes dead on at the straight. That's going to be a warning on the old corner cut. So 10th Fear seems to be all over the back of him, which also allows Matt Meerkat to be all over there as well. A good scrap starting to form here. Cosmic and Kari also very close to each other. We'll remain on board here with 10th Fear and Francis, getting some coverage for these guys. 10th Fear gets a much better exit out of that corner. Now he's going to go for a late lunge. He's been warned about these previously. He doesn't go for it there. Francis now getting on the curve. That's risky play with these wet conditions. 10th Fear is getting very, very agitated behind. He knows he can dispatch of the Red Bull and get the move done as Francis decides it's time to come into the pits. I might see some intermediate tyres, you know, from that sort of position. He knows he hasn't got great pace at the moment. He might come in, so we'll stay on board with Francis as he's really struggling with them tyres to slow him down in time. Let's keep on board with Francis and see what tyres he comes onto. So it looks like a set of, oh no, it's a set of softs and a change of the front wing as well, so that might explain. So nobody's risking the inters at risking the inters at the moment. They're kind of playing it safe. I'd be surprised. I don't know why maybe one of the slower cars, maybe Stocky, could risk it. He's currently 43 seconds behind the nearest car, so I don't really think he's got much of a hope of points today. Gemzo moves up as he goes side by side with Tumas now at the moment, and he gets that move nicely done there, Gemzo, as he looks to recover his Grand Prix. But if you look on track, the sky is starting to clear up a little bit. I don't think this rain is going to actually settle, so it might just be greasy conditions here at the moment. We might actually see dry tyres till the very end, which in any case is going to mean just a straight battle to the end. And at the moment, you'd say Flores is in the best position the way he's going and the way he's pulling away.
Well, I mean, any person can say that if someone is leading. However, there's a lot of events that chain and unfold during a race. Something could happen to Flores. I mean, despite how much of a gap you have, I'm not sure if safety cars turn on or not. Like I said, I'm not big into ULC, so I don't know if safety cars turn on or off. I know you've done this in the past, so it's off? Okay. Well, I mean, just in case if it was, that lead could be diminished, and next thing you know, he has the pressure going down his back again. Well, I mean, with Flores, he could be pushing to a mistake with the rain right now, and if it keeps on staying, the track is just going to get wet and wet no matter if the rain stays constant. The track is just going to fill up. It's sort of like this very, very big bucket.
Oh, sorry, I was just on board there with Shamasi, and he seemed to have lost the rear end slightly there, which has actually opened him up into the clutches of Skeevan and JD. He seems to be really struggling on these tyres as Flores picks up a time penalty. That could scupper his race victory. Yeah, Shamasi got into a tangle there as Skeevan as well seems to be struggling as well. So these guys all on old super soft. They're all tracking each other very, very closely at the moment there. Sorry to interrupt you, but it did look like at the moment Shamasi could crash out from third position there. So luckily for him and his team as well, he's going to be okay at the moment. Cosmic as well, yeah, making seems to be all over the place as well. These drivers are really struggling on these tyres. It could just be a case of the survival of the fittest, who can make their tyres last the longest until maybe it rains. But I don't think the rain is...
Hold on. Yep, Flores, Cosmic, both into the pits, both drifted into the pits. Thought that was very interesting, but they're both into the pits. I think rain is finally starting to affect them, or they're all in for slick tires. We don't know. Into the pits, we'll see what the Sauber puts on. And it looks to be some soft tires, believe it or not. Interesting choice. I think that's what everyone else will go for. But like I was saying earlier, this track is a big bucket. It's going to take a long time for it to fill up. But once you do, you need to have the right equipment. You need to put on the right tires just for you to survive. I mean, it doesn't really relate to a bucket anymore, but I mean, it takes a long time for the bucket to fill up. And right now, this track definitely is that, as Cosmic exited the pit and almost hit 10th Fear. And I thought that was very interesting. And you brought up another interesting point a couple minutes ago, that lunges that 10th Fear did. These got warned about that. I'm kind of assuming that's what the quality ban was for. I'm just assuming here. I'm not sure if I'm right.
You would be right, yes. It was, for a clarification to the stream as well, it was a lunge going into Vale that took out another driver. So there were some complaints about it, but the stewards decided that it was worth a qualifying ban plus a 5-second time penalty for major damage. But 10th Fear now could really throw a spanner in the works if he can hold up Cosmic here, which ace of pace as well, we should note, running on the medium tyre. So too is JD and Matt Meerkat. So they must be, I'd assume they'll be going to the end on them. I wonder how the soft tyres will go to the end as well. But Cosmic all over the back of 10th Fear now. Is he going to go for a move at the inside? He's going to get it done before the braking zone. It was that good. 10th Fear struggling on them tyres. Cosmic makes it a 2-3 once again for the Spaniards. And 10th Fear will now be under pressure, I'd imagine, from Ace of Pace, who has Gemzo and Shamasi slowly closing in on him. Gemzo, is all over the back of him here as well. So he's going to be the one who's looking for the move coming up there as Kari spends the fastest lap as he looks to reel Merlin Flores. And there goes a little mistake there from Ace of Pace on the curb. Now this will open Gemzo as he opens the DRS now. I don't think he'll be able to make a move up here, but we did see him go for a very interesting lunge and a late move on Shimasi earlier. It's Sauber versus Renault once again. He gets a good line there, little lock up. He's now going to maybe open it up to go for a move down into turn 2. A little bit of a tank slapper there, which is going to compromise him now. Is he going to go for the move up there? He just looks for it, but decides against it. A smart move there from Gemzo. He's got a chance of some good points here and can dispatch of Ace of Pace on the harder tyres compared to him very quickly. Behind him as well, Shimasi will be looking to recover, and also Skeven, who's had a pretty dismal race so far. Not great for him or the SRL guys as Gemzo picks up a penalty. As we mentioned at the exit of that high-speed left-hander, track extending is a very common occurrence, so penalties could be crucial here. But yeah, throughout the field it's very tight as we expected, you know, Monaco-like, but there's been some good overtakes so far and some good side-by-side battles. It's a very open track in that regard, and it so far hasn't really disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I've been riding on board with some of these drivers. I can agree with that, but I've been riding on board with some of these drivers, and really, some people might be watching this race that are either new to ULC or new to F1, and they may be watching. If it's raining, why don't they put on the intermediate tires on? Well, to be frankly, if you put on the intermediate tires, you're just going to do worse. I mean, there's barely any spray coming from the tires. DRS is still enabled, meaning the track will, you know, fit suitable for the slick tires. There's many reasons for that. I mean, you even ride on board, actually, hold on, Ace of Pace, Gemzo. Can Gemzo make a move? He'll back downhill towards turn number 2. Oh, they beat and banged the side pod, just got touched a little bit from the Renault. And around the outside, Gemzo ran out of space. Oh, lost the back end. Now he's going to be under pressure as he's in a banana sandwich. I can't believe I'm saying that. But Gemzo running in P6 as it stands right now. Oh, and it looks like the Pink Panther's going to have a say about this sandwich. As here we go uphill into sector number 2. And these guys, believe it or not, are still gaining on 10th here because he has not pitted yet. And Steven has retired. Oh, what a tragic event it is for the Force India driver. He's out on lap number 16.
Yeah, disappointing for the SRL guys. There'll be some heartbreak down there. The round 1 race winner, that will actually promote his teammate into the points, which is kind of ironic in a way. So they'll be scoring some points in that regard, but it'll be very disappointing. A great scrap is unfolding here. As you can see, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, all very close. There must be just around 2 seconds separating them, not even that at this stage. A little contact there from Gemzo, who pushes out Shimasi. Them two have had some touches earlier on. Argy-bargy going on there, boys. Keep it clean. Going through the final corner. 10th here is a man under pressure at the moment. These tyres are dead, and I mentioned earlier he could throw a spanner in the works with his defensive moves. He goes very defensive. The snake behind him is going to follow his every single move. 10th here now moving out to the racing line. No, he's going to hold the inside now. Ace of Pace looking to go around the outside. He'll go for the switchback. Gemzo going up the inside. A beautiful move now. Can he hold it though? Will Gemzo be able to keep the move? He goes side by side with the McLaren now going around the outside. Is he going to make it stick? Better traction there. He's going to squeeze out the McLaren. The McLaren's going to the inside line. The McLaren just about avoids him. Gemzo there almost hitting 10th here. 10th here does well to avoid that now. So Gemzo gets past him. Now it leaves the two Renaults. Can they dispatch the McLaren driver? He's the one holding them up currently. Gemzo's done a great job to get up into 4th position. And now 10th here is going to have these two Renaults who have looked very feisty behind him. Is Ace of Pace going to look for a lunging move here? I'd be shocked if he does. He doesn't go for it. But 10th here is really pushing these tyres at the moment. I think he's decided that his race is just going to be about getting onto the stream and holding up and causing some drama, which he's doing very, very well considering he started from the back of the grid. He's doing a great job currently, but Ace of Pace and Shimasi are going to hone in on him and very shortly, I'd imagine, dispatch him quite quickly. But Gemzo there, ever the optimistic and opportunist he is, went for a lovely undercut there, switchback on two drivers, got side by side with McLaren and made the move stick.
Yes, as you're still riding on board with Ace of Pace, try to lunge up the inside of 10th gear there, something that 10th gear would do as I described, but still riding on board with the Renault. May try and move off the final corner down towards the first corner. 10th gear knows that, so he's going to defend the inside of the across the line for lap 18. Now going to the outside, he may drive in the switchback and trick Temp into braking very late. Now around the outside, decides not to. A lot of understeer. And there goes the teammate of Ace, is Shimasi. And he's a witness of this battle, heading towards turn number 2. Around the outside, locking up that left front. Ace of Pace and Tempter, those two are still going at it. And he's going to be entitled to that inside line as he runs him off track. Gives him just enough room to rejoin. And there we go. Ace of Pace will have it. What about Shimasi around the outside of the corner? Shimasi does an incredible job of getting by the McLaren. And now Tempter has fallen a victim to those two Renault cars as they've both gotten by in a couple series of corners there. And it's been surprising that either three of those drivers have not caused an incident or have not spun out yet, because they enter the corner with understeer and they exit with oversteer. So really what it seems to be, these drivers are just moving into mistakes every single corner, and they're just masters at it. That's why we're having these races, because these drivers are professionals. They know what they're doing, and they know how to keep the car on the track for most of the time. And for the car control, it's been phenomenal today. As you saw with Flores, I remember the final corner got wide and almost hit the wall barely, and that's the reason why he's still in the lead at this moment. So if anyone's curious, I mean, the drivers qualified on the dry. The first lap was dry. After that, it's been wet ever since. The winner of this race will most likely be determined by who copes best with weather on slick tires when it's raining. When the track still is wet, but it's most likely greasy, is now Shimazzi and Ace of Pace teammates going at it. These two, oh, this is going to be a cracker of a battle. His teammates most likely going at it, as actually Let's Buy and Shimazzi, what it seems to be, started up towards the grid, and now is going to be by Ace of Pace at the moment. And like I was saying, Flores has done an incredible job today. He's coped with the weather most of all today, and I feel like he's really deserved the lead as it stands right now. However, Carey, the gap between them is 2.2 seconds, and it's been constant like that for the past couple of laps. Do you see any mid-race changes going on? Maybe the rain stops, maybe it gets heavier. Do you think that'll impact the race if so?
Well, if we do get rain, it's going to be very late on, and people have committed to their strategies very early. Have committed to their strategies now, and I think there's no real changing of that. I think the main on-track action we're going to be seeing is Temp Vera, who hasn't pitted yet. He's really holding out for that rain. I mean, if the rain really gets heavy now and everyone pits, that's P7 for him currently, but JD is all over the back of him. He's the next one to pick up on the Temp Vera tyre wear train, as I want to refer to it there. He is slowly chugged down the field. I've got to give him respect though, when you've got dead tyres like he has, to battle with two very good drivers and very clean drivers is very, very respectable, and he deserves every bit of credit considering he got a lot of stick for what he did at Silverstone. Now JD is going to open up the slipstream now. DRS is wide open. He goes side by side. No complaints there from Temp Vera. He gets the move done before the 100-metre board, and JD moves up into P7, and Temp Vera now has an 8.7 second gap to Matt Meerkat, so he can hold that out for as long as possible. If he pits now, he's probably coming out in about 12th, maybe 11th. At this stage, so it's going to be a tight one for him as Kari picks up a penalty. So Flores and Kari both have penalties, which is going to be important. We'll have a look at them in a second. It's now 1.9 seconds, in which fact we're going to look at quickly the race director to see who has penalties and what penalties they have. So we'll look at the main guys. Flores, he's on 2 warnings there, which could make him have 6 seconds, but he's currently on a 3-second time. No, actually, is he? Yes, he's on a 3-second time penalty. Kari, he has a 2 penalties, so Kari is going to have 6 seconds, so that does help Flores a little bit. Cosmic, he has a single penalty. Gemzo, a penalty. Shimazzi, no penalty. Fair play to Shimazzi. Ace of Pace, he has no penalty either. JD, no penalty. And Temp Vera, he's done very, very well. He's had dead tyres and he hasn't even picked up a single warning, so credit where it's due there. And Matt Meerkat, he has a penalty, and Tumas also doesn't have a penalty. So penalties aside, it looks like it's going to be a tight one. If Flores picks up another penalty, it's going to be them two battling to the end. So if Kari does get the move done, he's going to have to overtake and then pull out an additional 3-second gap to get that get that position done. As things currently stand, if Cosmic can get behind his teammate under 3 seconds, he'll take P2. And yeah, it seems to have opened up quite a lot now, this race, as it's hitting a quiet period, as Temp Vera finally decides to come into the pits, and he goes onto a set of super soft tyres. So we could now see Temp Vera flying through the field and making up some positions.
Yes, you definitely could see that, but I mean, it sort of puts a dent in the strategy of what I was imagining. I mean, Temp Vera stayed out because he wants to put on the super softs right now, which is the softest compound. You can run around here. Hold on a second. Stocky, you're retired. That's a teammate of Temp Vera. He's called it quits on lap 20, actually 20, hasn't crossed the line yet, but pulls up to the side, similar to where Soft did earlier in this race. Same exact place, by the way, which is very, very, I don't know how to imagine it. But he's retired from the session, lap 20 for him. Does not get to complete his lap, and there goes the leader of Flores going by the retired McLaren. Not sure why he, retired. I think it's just either self-inflicted or he's just done with this race, and he knew he wasn't going to get points. I don't know what's going on in his mind. Probably had better things to do as it stood right now. But for what we're watching, I will point out, none of us have noticed it yet until I have right now. The gap between Flores and Carey, it was Originally 2.2 seconds 3 laps ago. Now it is 1.7. Eventually, if they run on the same tires and the same strategy, these two are going to be battling for the win, because we're around maybe 14, 15 laps to go. We're sort of in the second half of the race. We're not totally over with it. We're in the second half of this race, and there's still a good battle for the lead brewing up as we speak right now. Speaking of as we speak right now, Tuomo is into the pits. The Haas is into the pits. What tires will he be putting on? I think he'll be putting on the super soft, so like Tempier did just now.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. If also on board with Tempier, he's currently really gaining on the back of Francis Jessica for the Battle of P9. We'll keep an eye on that one going forward. That could be a real blistering moment here. If Tempier can get past him, he's then got a 10-second gap to Matt Meerkat. So P8 is still possible, and if he gets past Matt Meerkat, I think that's probably where it would stop for him. But throughout the field as well, JD, he's starting to gain on ace of pace. The medium running Renault car there. Shamassi not really gaining on Gemzo. Kari's now made it 1.4. It's now gone up to 1.5 there. But that time is slowly and gradually getting lower and lower. I'm looking at the sky, and I honestly cannot see it getting any drier. I can't see it. Can't see it getting any wetter either. It doesn't look dark enough at the moment to hassle these drivers. So it looks like we're in for a dry race here with greasy conditions. Probably the most difficult conditions you can really go for. I'd say as a driver, if you want to be on track and you want to really test yourself, it's at that horrible period where it's not wet, it's not necessarily dry, it's not intermediate, it's just really, really tough.
I mean, it's been like that ever since lap number 2. The first lap saw a lot of battling. You know, people on slick tires are not suffering because those tires have been used by 1 or 2 laps, and the track was dry. But as it started to rain on lap number 2, the conditions started to get worse, and some drivers prevailed under those conditions, like Flores and Carey, and they prevailed. And as actually Tempier and Francis wheel to wheel as we head downhill towards turn 2, these two are battling for 2 points, actually, making some contact. A Red Bull got into the McLaren, couldn't see it with that angle. Not sure if you saw the same angle, but it looked like they made some contact. Can't tell how bad it was, didn't have a clear view on it.
Didn't look like any damage.
Gets ahead of Francis.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was any damage there. It just looked like Francis locked up there and just went into the side of them. No damage and no harm, no foul in that situation. Kari continuing with that gap. It's around 1.4 seconds, nothing really gained this lap either. JD as well, he seems to have just dropped off a little bit and might be able to make opportunistic chances when he gets the opportunity. But Francis P10 looks like where he's going to be finishing. Apart from that, actually, no, I would say keep an eye on Tumas. If you look, currently 16 seconds behind, he might, with the amount of time he could be gaining a lap, with the amount of time left, he might just catch Francis in the last lap. So points aren't secure for Francis at this current point in time. But the key battle is, of course, Kari versus Flores for the race lead. If Kari can get past Flores and then pull out a 3-second gap, or if Flores picks up an additional 3-second time penalty, which, remember, he is on 2 at the moment warnings, which would mean 1 more, and it is another penalty for Flores, and it will be a straight shootout between these two. But at the moment, penalties are going to be the ones that make up the decision. But at the moment, Flores has track position, and Kari is the chasing pack at the moment in that Williams. M2 have pulled away. It's been a sensational drive from Flores so far. Made a fantastic move up the inside and held, got a great move on Shamassi, which got the move done after losing the race lead early on lap 1. And obviously Kari as well has had a really good drive. Francis picked up a penalty there for a second. When I saw F with a penalty, I thought it might have been Flores who made a straight shootout to the end. But Flores has drove very, very well, and Kari as well. He's the chasing pack, and it's always got to be given credit where it's due for putting the pressure on in this situation and being the one who is really going to put Flores. Because if Kari wasn't here, Flores would be having a really easy afternoon.
I mean, yeah, it could be easy to assume that, but like we said, the conditions for some of these drivers, even the fastest drivers on the slick tires could maybe at a disadvantage when it comes to conditions like these. Gemzo into the pits. He's into the pits now for another set of super softs because originally he pitted for a set of super softs earlier, repairing his front wing. That was the reason why he had to fix his front wing, and he figured just to put on a pair of super softs, go for 1 extra stint and push throughout the entire race and see if it would work. Though, like we said, the rain doesn't really help the fact of the matter that he's doing this. It just adds more wear to the tires, locking up more. There's a lot of more understeer in the corner, and off the exit there's a lot of oversteer. We keep mentioning this, it happens. But as we go up through the field, DRS has not been disabled yet because it's still fittable for these slick tires. That does mean once Carrick and Flores get within 1 second, the battle for the lead will be very, very shortly away. Coming across the line for 10 final laps in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Who will win it? It could be Flores, it could be Kerr, and it will be a good finish. I know that. We can promise you. Coming across the line in third, there's Cosmic. Why don't we do a little grid run again? Lap 26. It is Flores, Carrick, Cosmic, Shamazi, Ace, JD, Matt, Gemzo, 10th Fear, Francis running out the top 10. And then, a 3-second penalty for Gemzo right after he came out of the pits. Maybe pushing a tad bit too hard, I don't know. Down in 10th is Francis, 10th is Vamos. The retired cars are Stocky, Steven, Arctic, Soft, and again, we're assuming it's Technica not racing today. Again, a misfortune as he was not even able to start the first lap of this race. Probably due to a game glitch, I don't know. You don't have a press release or anything over what happened with him. I'm kind of curious. I'm not sure if he left, but there's a pass between Gemzo, and now it's going to be Matt. It's going to be around the outside. He clears it right before turn 2, and Gemzo's up to P number 7. And riding on board with him, he's only 6 seconds, 6.5 or so away from JD, and JD's on the medium tire, so he'll be approaching him like a rapid dog within the next couple of laps, and that battle between the two will go down very, very quickly, as JD will have nothing to defend against Gemzo within the next couple of laps.
Yeah, also side note, Kari seems to have dropped a little bit of time there, so it's gone from 1.1 up to 1.4, now to 1.3, so you know, Flores seems to be holding and reacting to every single bit of time that is gained by Kari at the moment. So let's see if he can really put in some solid sectors and some solid lap times to try and put the pressure onto Flores. And at this race at the moment, JD 1.4 seconds behind. He's keeping Ace of Pace keen, but I think it's going to be Gemzo who's going to be the star at this final third of the Grand Prix. He just has a little moment there. He's 4.4 seconds currently off JD, Ace of Pace. He can probably catch them two before the race is over if he gains enough time. Super soft compared to mediums. But a side note as well, as he sets the fastest lap, I was just about to say, I have some good sources who tell me that under these conditions, the hardest compound tyres are actually better in these greasy conditions. But I think Gemzo may have just proved that theory wrong by setting the fastest lap of the race on a fresh set of super soft tyres. JD now is just under a 10th behind Ace of Pace as well, so it's getting closer and closer between them two. So we could have some late squabbling for P5 between the Mercedes and the Renault. As you mentioned as well about the run-through, let's mention the constructors. So Sauber will gain some points on their close rivals, but they will not be gaining on the championship leaders, which are Kari and Cosmic racing for SML currently. They will extend their championship lead in the constructors. It could be interesting though, because Flores, you know, he's got to really hold off Kari, who's now dropped to 1.8, now 1.6 seconds behind. So he seems to have reacted quite well, Flores, to Kari. So maybe it's just a little bit off. I think the main battles are going to be JD, Ace of Pace, and Gemzo. Gemzo's got that down to 2.4 seconds 1 lap later, so it's 2 seconds gained. I mentioned he'll probably get past them. I think he may get past them with a bit of ease and may even put some pressure on Shamazi later on. A question for the soft runners though, Alan. Do you reckon their tyres are going to survive till the end of the Grand Prix? Because they've been on these ones for quite a while. Greasing conditions, a lot of wheel spin. Do you reckon they'll last?
It'll be a question to see that. I mean, obviously you're asking me that, but some drivers may face that with a penalty. I mean, not a time penalty, but it'll be a consequence that we see. A couple of laps ago, Kari was up to 1 second distance between Flores and Carrot between himself, and now it is back to 1.6. So I'm not sure if Kari's backing off due to the fact that maybe the state of it at his tires, and he's probably predicting in his mind that he won't be able to finish the race on those tires. Maybe not. Maybe he's just still pushing, but his tires have been faster because there's more wear on him. I don't know. But if that's the case, guys like Carrot, you're going to have to look out for him. Because a drastic drop in pace. He was gaining on Flores, and probably if he was still pushing, he could actually battle him for the race win, but I think he's just backed off maybe just to finish the race on these tires. I mean, the gap between Cosmic and Carrot is around 7.5 seconds, so I think he just wants to back off and at least make sure he finishes the race. But I'm going to bring up another point. Skeven retired around 7-8 laps ago. I had no clue what happened with him, and actually I was scrolling through his surf feed, and he did put up a reason to it. I will censor out some of the stuff he says. So originally says, okay, so after a perfectly normal race, by the way, quotation marks. Okay, so after a perfectly normal race in PSGO last night, I was immediately brought back down to earth. I should be representing SRL and ULC. I really do myself no favors. This game has made me blanking miserable, and I can't and I can blanking stand it. Really wish I could get some decent pointers from someone. So depressing. So, obviously, as we can see, Skeven not so happy with how his race ended, as Gemzo, now, like we said a couple laps ago, Gemzo gets by JD. That was it. Medium lap pass look easy on those tires. I mean, like you said earlier, medium tires, some people prefer to be on those when the track is greasy, but like you said, Gemzo has proven it wrong. But maybe, I mean, he's been pushing to the field so much, he can even get a top 5 position as Shamazi. It looks to be a 3-second penalty, so it's a yellow in Sector 1. Who could that possibly be? Going through the field, oh, that's a Red Bull of Francis. Oh, his position's not secured, and he's just lost a single point to Tuavos. Oh, that is terrible. Oh, he had a single point, and he absolutely bottled it on lap number 30 in turn 1. I had no clue what went on there. But now, I mean, those two are within around a half a second between each other. So as it stands right now, these two could possibly battle for a single point. But like we keep mentioning, Ramos is on the better tire, so he's just going to pull away. But like we say, everyone knows in F1 that the softer compound you have has a lot more grip. At the same time, they degrade faster. So at the end of the race, maybe the super soft guys will just come to a weakening. But as you look up back at top 5, it is going to be a battle for P5. 10 single points between Gemzo and Ace of Pace. Will Tuel, can he do it around the outside? He can just clear him, but the gap is just enough there as he gives him just enough room around the outside. Gemzo makes that pass look easy once more. And sliding into the top 5 is Gemzo. The gap between Shamazi and now Gemzo is 8.5 seconds. And just remember, Shamazi just picked up a 3-second penalty that may matter towards the end of the race. We have 6 laps to go.
6 laps to go, and Kari has now got into DRS range of Flores. If he wants to get this race victory, he needs to get it done now, because as things currently stand, even if he gets past him, he won't have enough time, as Flores has 1 less penalty than him. So it's a 3-second gap he'll need to pull out if he wants to pick up the race victory here. Flores. Francis Jessica has made the risky decision. He's the first runner to come into the pits for a fresh set of tyres, but intermediate tyres. I was going to note there, it did seem like it was coming down a bit heavier, Lorraine. So if it's going to... Oh, looking at Francis there with wheel spin coming out the pits, I don't think it's the ideal set of tyres. So I don't think he's come out. I think he's accepted the fact that he will not be scoring any points this race. A mistake there. I think I just caught in the end. I think into turn 1 he got too heavy on the acceleration, the power was too much, and he lost the rear end. As JD there runs into the rear end of Ace of Pace, no damage there, but now he's going to have a good entrance, exit out of that corner. Now can he try and get the move done? I don't think he's going to have enough here, but he is all over the rear end of Ace of Pace currently. But the big one, of course, as we mentioned, all race, Kari versus Flores. Kari seems to have a very good run through the first sector, but the middle sector, Flores seems to gain it back a little bit. We'll keep on board with him here for a second to see how they do. Let's see if Kari can get a good entrance going into the final few sectors. Final few corners, and get a run on Flores and maybe go for a lunge. Flores is notoriously loving a lunge in this league so far, but it looks like Kari's the one who's got to go for the risky moves. Flores is holding on at the moment. Maybe we could ask the question whether Kari backed off purposely to save his tyres, save some fuel, to have one last run at the very end of this Grand Prix as they're about to come through the final corner for lap 32 of 35. We're coming on to the final few. The finale of this Grand Prix is starting to get very, very tasty. Kari versus Flores, JD versus Ace of Pace now, and Gemzo is gaining rapidly on Shamazi. He's down to 6 seconds between them two. So just gone under 6 seconds in fact. So Gemzo might catch Shamazi, Kari might catch Flores, JD might catch Ace of Pace, and is this a good time for me to ask you who currently would be your driver of the day?
Well, first of all, let's go over to, the finishing positions, or where they started, and, where they're running right now. Francis into the pits and retired, probably done with those intermediates, just displaying to us that no driver right now should be on the intermediates. But like you said, looking at where everyone else is running as it stands right now, Flores has not gained any positions. Kari has gained 1 as it stands right now, and he's trying to get by Flores within the final couple of laps. I mean, there's Gemzo, who's back up to P5. There's Ace of Pace down in 6. He's about to maybe get passed by JD. I don't know. It's kind of hard. Maybe temp fear, but then again, it could be due to the fact that many cars behind him have retired. I would have to say, oh no, yellow in Sector 1. Who could that be? I think that's just, game glitch. But yeah, going through the field, I would have to put my money on Kari. He's been incredibly fast He's mastered his racecraft, and he does what every driver does. So he thinks ahead of time. Not every driver does that. All they do is just drive. Some people think ahead of, okay, I want to pass this guy. I should back off, save my tires just enough so I know I can finish the race and control my pace later on. Then he starts a push, and then he gains on Flores. That he's all over to the back end. And he's only gained one position, but again, in the beginning of the race, he had a setback. He was all the way back down to 6th, 7th, fought back through the field as he gets very close, dangerously close to Flores, down with the last couple of laps, and now it's going to be a battle between Carey and Flores. But as it stands right now, despite it, whether or not Carey wins a race, he's my driver of the day.
Yeah, I would have to disagree. So as an honourable mention, I think Carey's up there. I'd also give an honourable mention to Temp Fear at this current moment in time, who has done a fantastic job at this so far. Obviously, last week got a lot of stick for his dive bombs. As JD and 80 Pacer going side by side now, going into turn 2. Is he going to get the move done here? JD is going to go around the outside. He locks up there. He's going to have traction around the outside. It looks like the Renault's going to squeeze out the Mercedes, and the Mercedes is going to have to settle in there and goes. JD gets a little bit wavy, and he's able to control the car there. I would give Carey driver of the day if he picks up the race victory here, but Temp Fear obviously deserves an honourable mention, who has fought his demons and was complained about for his reckless driving, has really come back fighting. But at the moment, Flores has drove an exceptional race, and I have to give it to the race winner at the moment, who is currently the race leader, but anything could change this late on in the race. These two are now very, very close here. Carey, as you mentioned, looked for a little lunge, almost hit the rear end now. If Carey's clever, he's going to leave it and go for it into turn 2 now. He's done a very good line there. He's going to get a better exit out of the corner early on the power to try and get better traction. Both of them losing the rear end slightly there now. Opens up the DRS, he's not going to be able to make it move. So realistically, if he's going to want to make the move done, he's going to have to get an exceptional run through the final sector that opens up Flores, makes him weak and vulnerable, and he can get the move done maybe to turn 1 to then cut him off, make the line a little bit more difficult for him into turn 2 and stick it out going into the sector they've just gone through.
Yep. Carey's going to have to come in clutch. In my opinion here, like you said, he needs a fantastic exit off the final corner, or he needs Flores just to make a mistake. But if Carey wants to win this race, he needs to come in clutch and come in with a last lap pass. Other than that, I don't see him winning unless there's a mistake from Flores or something. I don't see Carey winning unless he makes a last lap pass. Other than that, I don't see it happening. He's worked so hard to get to the back end of Flores. That would be a shame just to see it go down in shambles as he can't get by him. But as we approach the final sector on the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix, oh, we're in for a cracker of a finish. These two are only 2 to 3 tenths off of each other, and it was just like the beginning. They started right near each other, and they're going to finish right near each other once more. He's backed off to 3-4 tenths, but off the final corner, can Carey do anything about it? Riding on board, oh, not the best exit for Flores, but again, still far behind is Carey. I don't think he'll be able to make the move as he approaches down towards one. Flores knows that Carey needs to make a move down to the inside as he defended it twice down to the inside, and right now Carey's still behind Flores. Now all that Carey needs is for Flores to make a mistake. I don't think it's going to happen, but a well-thought day for Carey as we approach the final lap today in the Hungarian Grand Prix in ULC PS4.
Yeah, it looks like Flores has drove exceptionally well. He's defended, he's kept the gap, he's looked solid and he's looked strong, and he looks to have got a race victory on his own merit and not penalties. After a fantastic performance in Spain, he'll be our first 2-time winner here in ULC PS4. JD, obviously him and Ace of Pace come together. We caught onto that a little bit earlier, and he's going to be unable to get the move done here. I think he may have picked up some damage, but he'll be disappointed if he's unable to get the move done. We'll go on board with this battle with Carey and Flores, so to the end. It's going to be late drama, it's going to be a tight one. It's going to be a very, very disappointing and frustrating afternoon here for Carey. He knows that he could get the move done if a few more laps maybe. He's probably now starting to get the exit if he had one more lap that he could get the move done. But the man of the moment is of course Flores. He had a fantastic and exceptional performance from the back of the grid at the Spanish Grand Prix, and he has drove superbly from pole to the race victory. Your winner from Hungary is Flores, representing the Dutchman. He wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. There for a second I saw Carey jump up thinking there might have been late penalties. Carey comes home in second. It's Cosmic on his debut, replacing Marchetti, who goes into third, crashing out in style. Shamassi, who's got Gemso all over the rear end of him. Gemso was unable to get that done late on, so it looks like Shamassi will come home in fourth, unless of course he has more penalties, but Gemso seemingly picked up quite a few. He picks up fourth place, then Gemso in fifth. Ace of Pace, he'll have JD all over the rear end of him. He's going to pick up sixth position. position. JD right on the rear there, as you mentioned. It's a Renault 4.6 there. He comes home in 6th face of pace. 7th is JD. Matt Meerkat a respectable 8th. 10th here, who had a qualifying ban, comes up, gains 7 positions, and he's going to come. He's not going to do that. He gets home 9th position, 2 solitary points, and finally Matt. He'll be coming through this final sector as he comes across the line. What did you think, Alan? Did you enjoy your first taste of ULC action?
Well, some people would say it's just a race. To me, it was a good fought battle to the very end. There was a lot of action when the rain came out in lap number 2, and to the point where every single driver, well, I mean mostly every single driver, was still in the slicks to the very end. These drivers fought like mad dogs, entering the corners, understeer, off the exit, oversteer. And, well, I was impressed by some of these drivers. Carey stood out to me, so did Flores, Tempfear as well. Fantastic passes despite the conditions. So it's been very tricky for some of these drivers, but they pulled it off. Some drivers have fallen victim to the rain in Hungary, but some have risen. And the one that has risen is Flores, as he's on the top step podium today, the Hungarian Grand Prix. And well fought, to say the least, over the Sauber driver. Well, like we said, second and third of the 2 Spaniards, and the champagne goes onto the fans and the mechanics. They're really proud with that result today. And I mean, if I were Flores, I'd be proud of that too. You held on, and despite at the end you were looking vulnerable, you're able to hang on and take the victory today.
Yeah, there he is, Flores. He wins the Grand Prix. In the end, he picked up 6 seconds of penalties and Kari had 9. So it's Flores from Kari, then Cosmic, then Shamasi in 4th, Gemzo in 5th, Ace of Pace 6th, JD 7th, Matt Meerkat 8th, Tempfear 9th, and Tumas in 10th. The DNFs, you can see there, they've all gone, so we'll be unable to tell you exactly who they are, but it looks like Francis, Arctic Devil, Skeven, Stocky is in there, and also that was Technica, who is in 15th position there. So they've left. It wasn't the greatest day for them. Some really good racing. Obviously Hungary is a very tough track to overtake, so the overtaking that was very risky and very, very great. Ace of Paces, there was an honourable mention, starting 12th and getting up to 6th position. We'll now try and get the drivers in for a post-race interview quickly, so hang with us as we try and get in the drivers. Remember to leave your questions down below in that comment section live stream. I'm aware that there have been a few issues with this live stream. Obviously my internet is, for lack of a better word, rubbish. So I apologise for that, but we did the best with a bad situation. Andy is normally the one with the strong Scottish internet, and the Hoover was in full force throughout that race. We'll quickly try and get the drivers in for a quick interview. Yeah. Yep. I'd give it a 7 out of 10 as well. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assumption. You know, they battled well, and I think the guys done a really good job. There was no real dangerous driving there, which we saw in previous races, and everyone seemed to clear their act up a little bit. It might be because I'm in the let me just invite. I think I'm in the pause, so it can't be heard on stream at the moment. Quickly. And this, where is he? Where is? I think because I'm in the PSN menu, they can't at the moment because I'm trying to invite the people in. Yeah. Ah. Hello. Lovely jobbly. Kari's here. Any news from Cosmic? Has an invite, but I don't think he's wanting to join at the moment. Let's try. They can't. You can't. Okay. So we'll go back. Rightio, we were unable to get a hold of Cosmic, but we do have Kari and your race winner, Flores, here. So we'll start off with Flores quickly. Flores, a fantastic drive there. You lost the lead early on, but you was able to battle back with a lovely move on Shamasi. You must be pleased, the first double race winner in ULC PS4.
Well, that's new for me. No, yeah, it was a great race. The crucial move on Shimasi for the race win, and just carry. Congrats also to him on second place. It was very close till the end. I needed to make no mistakes, otherwise he would have passed me on the straight. And yeah, I think it's a great race.
Yeah, you really did drive a mature race there. Obviously, you had Kari putting you under pressure, and we knew in the commentary box that penalty-wise you were safe, and Kari would have to get past you and gain 3 seconds if he wanted to get the race victory. But you showed maturity under these very difficult conditions in the wet. I believe you took part in AOR F2 at Silverstone on Sunday with similar conditions. So was you expecting, back-to-back races in leagues where you'd have rain but wouldn't be on the intermediates?
I didn't expect it, but yeah, this is not how do you say it? Not perfect conditions for me to drive in, because otherwise I've been well worried. So, what's in my room just by then.
That's fine. Alan, have you got any questions for him?
How are you able to hold on at the end? I mean, it seemed to be with the last couple of laps, every time you're on the main straight, you're defending down to the inside, and you maintain that gap from around 2, 3, 4 tenths. And do you think you would have been able to hold on much longer? I mean, it looked at those tires at the very end of their life, and you're really under pressure. How do you think it could have happened?
The overtake, it could have happened, but there was more life in the tires left.
Okay.
Right, yeah, we'll move on to Kari now. Your race winner, Flores, everybody. Kari, once again, you're on the podium. You seem to have made this a recurring thing. You lead the championship, you maintain that championship lead. Flores obviously gains slightly on you. Constructors-wise, you Spaniards are once again leading there as well. It's a fantastic race for you. Did you expect to have a good performance? Was you confident going into this race?
Yeah, I was doing very good times in time trial also, and I practiced Grand Prix, and I was having good pace, but in qualifying I think I bottled a bit, because somehow my car was sliding more than expected, and I didn't do a good time. Then I had some fights with Flores and JD, I think, was hard defending, but in the limit, but it's okay. And then yeah, you've seen it, what happened.
Yeah, it seemed like you were struggling. There was a period where you seemed to drop off a little bit but then gain rapidly. Was you conserving your tyres, conserving fuel to go for another run, or was it just a case of a couple of little mistakes that dropped you off and you were kind of struggling with the dirty air?
Flores was driving brilliantly and really fast, so I was pushing really hard, so that might explain my 9 seconds penalty. So just Flores won the race and he deserved it, so I tried my best to get close to him, but it was impossible.
Head over to Alan now, who probably has a few questions for our runner-up.
I mean, every race I commentate over that year, and despite AOR or ULC, you always bring on phenomenal pace. And that brings me to the question, do you think the result could have been different if it didn't rain at all today?
No, I think the rain, for me personally, wasn't as dangerous to drive or something to me, so I think the pace was similar.
Okay.
Right, well, we'll quickly mention the championship. Flores, you've won 2 races. Obviously, you missed out round 1, but you're making some headwind in the championship. Do you think you could have a bit of a surge and catch up with the guys?
I think it will, yeah. It will be a tight fight, but I think it will be.
And Kari, you're the championship leader at the moment. You're in good stead, 4 rounds in. Still got some good races, including Bahrain, of course, which we missed out on. Otherwise, we'll be on round 5. Do you believe that this championship is yours for the taking?
For me?
Yeah, for you. And for the team, in that regard.
Well, I think there are race left to do, and yeah, have to keep doing the good job, keep doing podiums, and we'll see what happens, but it's too early.
Well, it's been a fantastic and a classic here at the Hungary ring for round 4. It's been a fantastic race. Flores wins with the 2 Spaniards very shortly on his tail. SML will continue to extend their championship lead, and Kari is our top man in the championship. All that's left for me to say is thank you all very much for watching the stream. I understand there's been a few internet issues and overhearing the hoover of a PlayStation. But all that's left for me is, well, I'd like to say a big thank you for Alan for a last minute joining me here. I know it's difficult with your time zone and everything, but very much a thank you. How would you rate the race and your experience here in ULC?
Well, like I said, I enjoyed the race. It was pretty good. I mean, part of the rain put a damper on it. I feel like we could have like more passes if it was dry, but like we said, the drivers are the best with the conditions. Some of them struggled, some of them up, and it was very interesting to see some of these drivers put on spectacular display of driving, but overall I enjoyed it, and you know, I wish the best for ULC, and hoping for, you know, fantastic racing every single today, and it was a great race today. So I think that's about it. I mean, I enjoyed it. I know you did. I'm not sure about the drivers. They probably have different senses. They just finished the race, but
yeah, I really enjoyed myself. I always enjoy a good Tuesday night of ULC. Obviously, this week we didn't have Andy with us, but he will return next week. I will also be here, and we may see Alan in the future if the stars align and he's able to hear. I dare say we might come across him once again. Thank you all for watching the stream. We will see you next week for round 5, and hopefully we will see some great battling on track once again. Good night, everybody.